All right, let's go to baseball here. And you've heard all the stories on what's happening. Tampa Bay, it looks like, when their deal is up in 3 years, they'll probably get out of there. They're not going to build a new stadium. They had a $1.3 billion stadium thing set up. And then also, we know what the Dodgers did in the offseason, spending all that money on these free agents and people looking at the Dodgers. They're the new evil empire. They used to call the Yankees that, and now it's the Dodgers.
Right.
But now we got to hear Rob G., the owner of the Colorado Rockies, chiming in because not much is expected of his ball club. So the easy thing to do is just blame the system, and that's the reason why he hasn't been able to win and why it's unfair, and he wants a salary cap.
That's right. Dick Monfort spoke to the Denver Gazette about that exact issue. It must be noted, guys. He's the owner of the Rockies. The Rockies have finished out of first place in the NL West during the last 5 Major League seasons by an average of 38 games. So it's not just that they're bad. They are really, really bad. Yeah. And he said in the interview, again, using the Dodgers as a backdrop because the Dodgers suddenly are just buying up championships, even though they only got one, in this format.
No disrespect to him.
But, relatively, because people don't want to count the shortened season for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. So
it was a 60-game season. Baseball's 162.
So here's what he said. Something's got to happen. The competitive imbalance in baseball has gotten to the point of ludicrosity now. It's not even a word.
Ludicrosity? Wasn't he a rapper out of Atlanta?
He might have been.
Yeah, I like it. Keep rolling with it. I'm using it.
It's an unregulated industry. The only way to fix baseball is to do a salary cap and a floor. With the cap comes a floor. For a lot of teams, the question is, how do they get to the floor? And that includes us probably. But on some sort of revenue split deal, I would be all in.
This is so wrong on so many levels. And Kelvin, let me start here.
Okay, break it down.
First of all, before the Dodgers won in 2020, right? The Dodgers have always had money, right? One of the marquee franchises in the sport.
And probably all the sports, yeah.
Okay. How many World Series did they win since 1988?
None prior to the last few years ago.
The Yankees, they have a lot of money, don't they?
Yep.
Haven't won a World Series since 2009.
Yep.
The New York Metropolitans, they're a big market team. They won a lot, right?
Yep.
They haven't won a World Series since 1986. 86? I can go on and on. The Cubs, remember they broke that 100 year? So they won one in 110 years or 115 years. So that's Chicago. Is that a major market? Okay.
Number third biggest market in America.
So you get my point. The 100%. Angels are in Anaheim, outside of Los Angeles. They haven't won since 2002. Can we stop?
And not only that, Rob, they haven't even made the postseason. They've had the best players, Mike Trout, Shohei,
on the same team.
They did nothing.
And this is my point, is you can blame all you want on this thing about parity, and it's just not true in baseball. We talk about it all the time. If the Dodgers repeat this year,
be the first time in 25.
First time in 25 years. Who's winning every year? Can I tell you who was in the World Series last year?
Mm-hmm.
The Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Are those big-time franchises?
Nope.
Come on. You got to stop with the money. You could have money. You could have a bad GM who signs bad players, right? Things don't work out. We've seen it all the time. You should be complaining about the NBA, and they have a salary cap, and the NFL. Patrick Mahomes go to the Super Bowl. Tom Brady went to the Super Bowl, won 7 Super Bowls. They got a salary cap, right? And then here's the other part. Here's the bad part about the salary cap, talking about a ceiling and a floor. Do you know what a floor does? A floor pays bad players because you have to spend the money.
Exactly.
So you're giving – it's not that. It's just that you're giving money to players. Look at the NBA.
You have to have to spend this $120 million, whatever it may be. So I got to pay this guy who's really worth $4. I got to pay him $15.
You got to pay a bench player $15 million.
Yep.
So I think he's wrong. I think it's just an easy scapegoat. I have no issue with baseball. It's been spread around the championship. We just talked about all the teams. Yes, everybody doesn't win, right? But I don't think money has anything to do with it.
Watch this. So you said a lot that I'm with you totally. Let me just add to this. Okay, let's add some. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to be the numbers guy. So check this out. If you look at the teams who have won, let's go all the way back, let's say the last 13, 14 years.
Yep.
And if you look at their payroll, it's a variety. It's not first, second, third, first, second, third, first, second. So the Dodgers were third. Yeah, the Rangers were fourth. But then you go to the Astros in 2022, eighth. You go the year before that, 2021, the Braves, 11th. Dodgers won in 2020, they were first. Then 7th with the Nationals in 2019. We got in 2017 the Astros at 17th. You got the Royals in 2015 with 13th. We got the Cardinals at 9th. So this isn't a matter of one to first, second, third, five. Now those are the winners. If you start to look at the teams that just participated in the World Series, look at this mixture of teams, Rob. You've got the big names you mentioned the Dodgers and the Yankees, right? But then you get teams like the Indians. You've got the Tigers. You've got the Phillies. You got the Tampa Bay Rays. You got the Rockies.
Look at all the this is what we're saying. Is like
you've got the Cardinals. You've got the Anaheim Angels, as we mentioned. You got the Florida Marlins, who don't spend any money. You've got the Royals, who have been a couple of times. So my point is, look at the variety that have either had a chance to win. Or one, it is a team that spent no money to the teams that spent all the money. So to me, there's no greater parity. When you look at you have a chance, whether I am the San Diego Padres or the Yankees, whether I'm the Arizona Diamondbacks or the Angels or the Cubs, all these teams in the last 20, 25 years have been in a World Series, and some of them multiple shots. And again, you got the Tampa Bay Rays who've been there. They don't really spend any money. I mean, the Marlins don't spend the Diamondbacks, including the Rockies, like I mentioned, who is complaining about this as well. And by the way, Hal Steinbrenner, oh, yeah, we might need to consider this. I mean, if you don't hush, you've been doing this for 40, 50 years, spending all the money. Now all of a sudden you want to, we might need to look into a cap. I don't know, the Dodgers is long. I mean, if they stay healthy, they might want. Stop it, Yankees. You and the Rockies, stop this. This is ridiculous. I don't know if we've seen more parity in the variety of teams that you have gotten in the different markets and different sizes of teams, from mom and pops to massive conglomerates in the World Series.
Right. It would be different. And even when you go back, if you want to go back to when the Yankees won those 3 in a row and 4 out of 5, remember those teams, they were homegrown players.
Yep, great point.
Derek Jeter came from the farm system. Andy Pettitte came from the farm system. Bernie Williams came from the farm system. Jorge Posada came from the farm system. And Andy Pettitte came from their farm system. Like that,
yeah.
Those are their players. They didn't get them from anywhere else. They didn't raid the Rockies, right, and just offer them all the money. Those were their players.
And a lot of those Dodgers, especially that 2020 team, a lot of those were homegrown, straight out the farm system. So that's a great point. And the Dodgers, we know, have an amazing farm system. So sometimes you got to look at your own self. Hey, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Who are we drafting? Who are we grooming? How is our coaching? How is our managing going that we're developing these players? Because that's a great point. Some of these teams have had the success that they've had was from the homegrown. Even that run where the Giants were having. Right. A lot of those guys were homegrown. So, yeah, you bring up a great point there, Rob. And, like I said, I mean, I'm bringing up the Tigers. I'm bringing up the Indians.
The Tigers when last year, look at where their payroll is. They made the postseason.
Exactly. Yep.
They didn't have a great. They didn't have a big payroll. They had good players. The Oakland A's haven't spent money, and I know the last few years, but they've made the playoffs a number of years in the last 20 years.
Yeah, so, and it's just the parity and the variety of teams as far as, like I said, from market size to what they spend.
I think it's been great in baseball, to be honest.
Man, I mean, just like I said, I'm just looking at this list I have in front of me, right? And just about almost every team that I didn't even mention, like the Nationals, they've won, like almost every team in the last 25 years has either won or been in a World Series for the most part. Even the White Sox
won a World Series during that time. Look at it.
2005, they've been in there. And so, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, who you got a shot? Like I said, the Royals went twice. They won one, lost one in a Game 7 to the Giants.
You would have said small market Kansas City's been to the World Series and won one inside the last 20 years.
And went 2 years in a row.
Right.
So, and followed by that 2 years later were the Indians at the time, now the Guardians. So, right. I mean, it's just a variety of teams. And so I don't get it.
It's just an owner
It's
who's
an
using
easy-
it as an
it's a- yeah,
excuse.
there you go. It's
and
an
it's
easy
just
way to
it's
get
easy
out
to just
accountability.
exactly for accountability that you haven't done a good job and you haven't spent some money. You got to get some players, but also you got to develop. It's a lot of things that go in it. It is not that easy, and